The Heidelberg Hustle podcast is proudly sponsored by Silver Security Group and Heidelberg Times. Hello everyone and welcome to the third episode of Heidelberg Hustle. My name is Ronald.
And I'm Neil.
Enjoy the show.
In the headlines from this past week, the controversial mayor's house in Bergsig goes under the hammer.
Protests on the Voldam Road due to service cuts.
Gauteng's top cop in Rotunda to be part of Operation Chanela 2.
And in the sport news, Heidelberg Rugby onoorwonne na 2 rondes in die Falke Merlin Liga.
The Western Race for Hope takes place this Saturday as excitement mounts.
Toks en Chops kom ondersteun Masin Sedane by die jaarlikse golfdag.
We'll also be having a special feature on the pothole problem we have in Heidelberg.
And in this week's episode, we introduce a new feature, the Heidelberg Business Buzz, with Renier from Semicolon Collective.
Risha will be in the house again to talk about the things that we don't talk about, and this week's edition is alcohol related.
And we finish off with the comedy section with some of our bloopers over the past 3 weeks.
The controversial home in Bergsig, once earmarked as a residence for the Lesedi mayor, went under the hammer on Wednesday, the 20th of May, and sold at only a fraction of its cost. Reports last year in various media outlets claimed that the project had already cost the taxpayer nearly 1.9 million rand. On Wednesday, the house sold at auction for a measly 360,000 rand. That's a loss to the taxpayer of 1.5 million rand. Opposition political parties and residents alike have expressed their frustration, claiming that the money lost could have been spent on things such as infrastructure improvement and repairs to things like roads, lights, etc. We spoke to the Democratic Alliance's mayoral candidate for Lesedi, Mr. Mokete Motsamai, and he expressed his frustrations with this terrible loss of taxpayer money. Let's hear what he had to say. Okay, we're here today with the DA candidate mayor for Lesedi, Mr. Mokete Motsamai. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
We've just had the auction of the house that was supposed to be made for the mayor, or built for the mayor. 1.9 million rand has been spent on this house since its inception, since the beginning. The house has been sold today for 360,000. So literally we're looking at over 1.5 million rand in taxpayer money that's basically been flushed down the toilet. As the DA, what is your reaction to this?
Right. The first thing is we should not have even been in this position. It's quite disappointing that council has spent so much money on a mayoral house. Remember, the mayor gets paid a salary that is regulated. It's disappointing to see that Lesedi went over and above to even build a house for the mayor in that case. And as you can see all over the place, there's potholes. That money could have gone to fixing the potholes. There's issues all over Heidelberg town, as well as all the townships, including your Ratanda, as well as as far as KwaZenzele, where people are complaining about service delivery, potholes, sewer all over the place, water that is not consistent. But instead of the money that people are paying with their own monies, the rates and taxes, they are investing it in pumping all these things for the mayor, as opposed to that money going into service delivery. So it's quite shocking, and it also shows lack of care. It shows, it's quite disappointing.
In layman's terms, if we just make it very simple for us, what do we tell the public today? These $1.5 million rand, like you said, could have gone to so much more, like the fixing of potholes, the fixing of street lights, for a large area in Lesedi. What do we tell the residents today?
The residents have been failed, and it's not the first time. For the last couple of years, the residents of Lesedi have not been receiving service delivery, especially those that are paying, and also those that are receiving grants that is supposed to be going to upgrading their areas. So residents should be up in arms. This is completely unacceptable, and keeping the current leadership of the municipality that has failed to do oversight, that has failed to do service delivery, and that has also failed to account on some of the monies that has been spent here. So residents should be aware. Mine is to say, residents, the monies that you pay, the monies that is due to be spent, or that is supposed to be spent on service delivery, is going into building mayor's house and who knows what else. You see your mayors around driving expensive cars and you sitting at home without water, with potholes all over the place. Businesses live in the area. It is shocking to see the state of Lesedi and where the prospects of Lesedi is going. So we must make sure as residents we register to vote and we do our part in terms of electing the leadership that can lead Lesedi into a better future going forward.
Just finally, as everyone knows, we've got an election coming up in
Correct.
November, and without politicizing this too much, and putting your Lesedi resident cap on, what's your message to the people of Lesedi come November the 4th?
My message is quite clear to say after these elections, the next elections will be in 5 years. A lot of people are staying at home saying they will not go out to vote because the same government will be in place and the same issues will be there and politicians are lying and so forth. The residents must remember that it's the only one opportunity they have to make sure that they elect the leaders that are credible, leadership that has a strategy, leadership that has plans to move Lesedi in the right direction, because another 5 years of the current leadership, there might be no Lesedi to save. So we must be clear that we've got an opportunity now to vote and show how dissatisfied we are with the current leadership. So if you stay at home, unfortunately, you will be supporting the leadership that is currently in place, because if they win, they could even win with one vote. And imagine if somebody is sitting at home not registering their vote so that the government can know where we stand.
Perfect. Thanks for talking to us today.
Thank you so much.
Gauteng's top cop, Lieutenant General Tommy Mtombeni, was in Heidelberg and Rotunda this past week, and he was leading a delegation as part of the fight against crime and part of also Operation Chanela 2. The operation formed part of intensified efforts by the police to tackle crime and restore safety in the community. Officers from SAPS and various law enforcement agencies conducted roadblocks, stop-and-search operations, and targeted interventions in identified hotspots throughout Rotunda. When addressing senior SAPS members earlier at the Rotunda New Hall, Lieutenant General Mtombeni emphasized the importance of Operation Chanela 2 in reducing crime and strengthening public confidence in law enforcement.
Protests broke out on the Voldam Road last week following the municipality's decision to cut power at the Shalimar Flats. The road was blocked by protesters who burned tires and placed debris in the road. Heidelberg Hustle visited the scene the very next morning, where we found workers from Lesedi and traffic busy cleaning the rubble from the road. En ons begin hierdie sportsegment weer eens met Heidelberg Rugby Club, wat weer eens na 2 rondes van die Falkenmorgenliga onoorwonne is. Neil, kan jy vir ons 'n bietjie meer inligting gee oor hierdie wedstryd?
Ja, Ronald, die Berge het die afgelope naweek gereis van Nobel Park toe, waar hulle teen Vaal University of Technology gespeel het. Nooit 'n maklike game nie, maar die Berge het weer deurgedring, uiteindelik met 62-12 gewen. Dis 2 games wat die Berge nou goeie punte op die tellbord gesit het, en ja, onoorwonne soos jy sê, na 2 wedstryde, en lyk goed vir die liga.
Dis Neil, ja, dis fantasties. En as ek dit nie mis het nie, is al 2 spanne van Heidelberg Rugby Club sover onoorwonne in hierdie liga.
Ja, Ronald, die tweede span, kyk, ons moet nou groot hande klap vir hulle gee, want hulle het op die ou end 31-12 gewen, baie goeie oorwinning vir hulle, en hulle lyk goed in die seisoen.
Baie geluk aan die Berge.
Hierdie naweek pak die Berge die Kempton Park Wolwe aan, en daar's 2 wedstryde teen hulle, die eerste span en die tweede span, maar behalwe dit, Ronald, die hoërskool speel ook die naweek op hulle tuisveld teen Maree Viljoen van Alberton, en ons moedig al die toeskouers aan om bietjie te gaan klub rugby, sowel as skole rugby ondersteun. Kos nie baie nie, R20 per persoon, R20 per kar. Ons sien julle daar, dit gaan baie nice wees.
Dit is korrek. So as jy kan, en jy is beskikbaar hierdie naweek, kom ondersteun jou plaaslike rugby spanne. Sien julle daar. And it's finally time for the 4th edition of the Western Race for Hope. Neil, I believe you have some more information for us.
Yes, that's right, Ronald. The 4th edition of the Western Race for Hope takes place this Saturday, the 23rd of May, out at the Poortjiesal. Now, this is a real highlight on the Heidelberg sporting calendar, not just on the cycling calendar, but the sporting calendar in general. We have a lot of people coming from out of town, a lot of fitness fanatics, of which we are not one, but we'll be there. And then we have a lot of joggers, a lot of mountain bikers, and there's plenty to do for the kids as well. There's a kids' play area, there'll be stalls for food. We had a word with Lesedi Community Centre's General Manager, Jaco Kritzinger. Now, Lesedi Community Centre are the beneficiaries of this Western Race for Hope, and we had a chat with him earlier today. Let's see what he said. So with us today, we have General Manager of Lesedi Community Centre, Jaco Kritzinger. Welcome, Jaco. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
This weekend, we see the 4th edition of the Western Race for Hope.
That's right.
How's the previous 3 editions been? What has it meant to Lesedi Community Centre?
So the Western Race for Hope is our largest fundraiser we have every year. And this is a tremendous contribution, financial contribution for us. To be very honest with you, we will not be able to do what we do without this fundraiser. This fundraiser equates for about 1/3 of our annual income. So that's the importance of it. And we're very thankful for the people who supports our initiative and our event. And obviously the funds will be applied locally and to serve the local community.
Now, this event is not just for local people. We have a lot of people coming in from out of town. How are the entries looking for this year's event?
Brilliant. It's really good. We've put a lot of marketing into the event this year, taking it outside of Heidelberg. And we've received numerous entries this year from the Free State, from the Northern Cape, and then surrounding provinces also, Mpumalanga and the Free State. I mentioned the Free State will also attend this year. So our entries are really looking good. We can't complain at all this year. The tracks are looking good. There was a specialist, the hosts of the event, the Burain family. They imported a guy to build the routes this year, and we are very thankful for that also. So the routes are ready for everybody, and we're ready to go.
And obviously, an event like this can't take place without fantastic sponsors like Western Race for Hope, and I know you've got a number of other sponsors as well. The funds generated from this event, how is LCC looking to make use of those funds?
Sure. So previously, just to recap, we had a fundraiser the previous year. The previous 2 years fundraisers were to open up a shelter specifically for abused women and children, which has happened. And we've got 12 beneficiaries there at the moment. And so the funds for this year will be applied towards SASSA pensioners. This has been something that was in our hearts for the last 3 years already, where we noticed, at the moment the SASSA pension is 2,400 Rand a month. Now, what do you do with that? You can't buy food and afford accommodation, both at the same time. You can either do one or the other. So we are opening up with the funds of this year. We will be opening up accommodation specifically for SASSA pensioners, where they will have safe accommodation, warm water, electricity, and 3 meals a day. And then we can also look after our elderly.
Awesome. All the best for the race on Saturday.
Thank you, sir. Hope to see you there.
We'll be there.
Thank you.
Masinse Dani Heidelberg se jaarlikse golfdag het hierdie afgelope Woensdag hier in Heidelberg plaasgevind. En Heidelberg Hustle het 'n draai gaan maak. Neil, vertel ons 'n bietjie meer.
Ja, Ronald, die Brutus Masinse Dani golfdag is nog 'n hoogtepunt op ons sportkalender in Heidelberg. En ons het bietjie gaan inloer daarso. Daar was 'n paar bekendes van die Tops and Chops span wat op kyknet is. En ons het bietjie gaan gesels met die manne en bietjie gaan hoor wat het hulle te sê.
Yes, ja, Neil, dis 'n wonderlike inisiatief wat jaarliks plaasvind ten bate van Masinse Dani. En Soos wat ek verstaan het, jy 'n kort onderhoud met 'n oud Springbokspeler gevoer.
Ja, Ronald, ek het die voorreg gehad om met hy is amper 'n bekende gesig nou hier in Heidelberg. Dis die tweede jaar wat hy die Masin Sedani Golfdag kom ondersteun. Ek het met Bruiten Polse bietjie gesels. Kyk hier nou. Hallo almal, welkom by Heidelberg Hassel weer. Vandag is ons by die Masin Sedani Brutus Golfdag en saam met my 'n baie bekende gesig, Bruiten Polse. Welkom hier by ons, Bruiten. Welkom in Heidelberg.
Ja,
weer.
baie dankie. Tweede jaar wat ons Masin Sedani kom ondersteun. Jy weet, baie van my kollegas, Bakkie, Zrika, Jannie, Hemi is ook hier so, en ons sien dit uit om hierdie wonderlike doel waar ons skool mense lewens te kan maak te ondersteun. En weer eens, ek het soveel met die kinders gepraat en ook met al die dames wat so wonderlike werk doen agter die skerms. Hulle gee my regtig 'n knop in die keel as ek net hoor die stories en hoe baie hulle doen vir hierdie kinders. Ek dink in Suid-Afrika moet ons nooit onderskat dat jy weet jou tyd is so kosbaar om te doen vir ander mense in nood, want ons het so baie mense in nood in Suid-Afrika en hierdie veral daai vrouens, hulle is my heroes regtig. Ek haal my hoed af om elke dag daai geduld te hê en die tyd in te sit om na ander mense en weet te kyk en met die liefde wat daarmee kom. Dis nogal vir my spesiaal.
Soos jy sê, is jou tweede jaar hier so nou in Heidelberg. Ek en jy het van Canberra af gepraat. Die werk wat hierdie mense doen is so wonderlik en ons sien dit so min in ons land.
Ja, dis spesiaal. Dis spesiaal so. Ek bid gereeld vir sulke mense en net om hulle daai krag te gee, want ek kan ook dink hierdie mense het ook hulle eie lewens en baie keer ons almal gaan deur goed. Jy weet, daar kom baie keer persoonlike goedjies op in ons lewens wat moeilik is nou en dan om mee te deel. En dis hoekom hierdie gemeenskap van Heidelberg is vir my regtig so spesiaal. Ek dink aan my opbrengs waar op die plaas groot geword het en net die nederigheid van plaasmense, hoe hulle saam staan in 'n moeilike tye. As jy weet tannie Sarkie vir tannie Minnie suiker leen en koffie leen en daai tipe van goed. So hierdie is 'n gemeenskap wat saam staan en dis hoekom is vir my so lekker om te kom jy weet Heidelberg toe, want hierdie mense staan saam en hulle help mekaar in 'n moeilike tye en ons het mekaar nodig in 'n moeilike tye.
Soos jy nou gesê het, dis jou tweede jaar hierso. Wat dink jy van Heidelberg? Dis 'n oulike plekie, né?
Ja, lieflike mense. Ek dink weer eens die mense maak die plek. En dis hoekom as ek genooi word weer, sal ek weer seker terugkom. Maar ek sien net na hierdie dag, ons gaan 'n bietjie golf speel natuurlik. En ek sien nog wel uit hoe almal hulle gaan self geniet. En Bakkies Botas my maatjie, so ek hoop hy kan die bal jy weet, 'n gatjie kry met hierdie wonderlike dag en hierdie moeilike baan wat voor lê.
Speel jy saam Bakkies of teen hom?
Ja, ek Bakkies
ek sal liewer net saam met
Nee, ek speel saam met Bakkies. Ja, jy weet ek het lank saam Bakkies rugby gespeel. So ek weet ek gaan nie teen hom wil golf speel nie, so ek gaan saam met hom speel die groot Bakkies boot.
Laastens nou, julle twee speel saam. Gaan ons 'n Bullstormers final in die USC.
Hoorie so, dis die droomfinaal. Ja, die volgende paar weke gaan baie interessant wees. Die voordeel van die Bulls en die Storms is by die huis, maar daarna kan dit 'n bietjie tricky word want kan moontlik wegspeel op die semifinale en dit sal jammer wees. Maar daar is al gewys in die URC dat selfs jy moet net kom in 'n semifinale of 'n uitspelwedstryd. Selfs al speel jy weg, die kans gaan altyd al wees dat jy kans het. So ons moet nie hoop verloor nie, maar ek moet sê dit sal die droomfinaal wees, maar kom ons kyk hoe dinge gaan uitspeel die volgende paar weke.
Bruiten, dankie dat jy tyd
Baie dankie.
Dankie vir Heidelberg.
Baie dankie.
Goeie dag op die golfbaan.
Baie dankie.
If you want to go fishing on a weekend, you no longer have to travel to the Voldam. You have the opportunity to catch a few big ones in one of the massive potholes in and around our town. Neil?
Ronald, yeah, while it's we can joke about it and people like to make jokes about potholes, it's actually no laughing matter. Potholes have become an institution in our town, and that's just not acceptable. We took a drive through parts of Heidelberg on the search for the biggest pothole in town, and we didn't need to look that far. Let's go and have a look at what we found.
As you can see, today we are in the unofficial pothole capital of Heidelberg. Yes, we are in Rensburg. As you can see, the roads are disintegrating everywhere, and we've come to take a look at the state of the roads in and around Rensburg. The state of the streets in Rensburg specifically is something that cannot be ignored. While NGOs such as Heidelberg Hope do their best to patch up potholes, they cannot be expected to maintain roads on a full-time basis. Surely, money that we the taxpayers are paying to the government must be utilised to ensure that services such as pothole-free roads are provided and maintained. We can only try and make the people in charge aware of problems such as these. Come on, Lesedi local municipality. Surely the residents deserve better. To end this segment, we've come to possibly the worst piece of road in the whole of Heidelberg. We are in Loveday Street between Jechelstradom and Kunlaberskagen. You decide, audience, if this is acceptable.
So yeah, as you can see, some shocking scenes and roads, Ronald, that we really can't accept as motorists. The number of vehicles that must get damaged is, I don't know. I don't even know the number. I don't even want to guess. But the question is now, what's going to happen? What is going to be done about it? You know, we've got the good people at Heidelberg Hope who are doing their best to patch up roads wherever they can. But what about the rest of town? What about the side street in Rensburg, like we've just seen? Who's going to fix that? The municipality seems to have just shrugged its shoulders and said they don't have funds. What's going to happen? We need a solution. So, yeah.
I agree, Neil. It's a massive problem, something that needs urgent attention, because the longer you leave it, the worse it's going to get.
Let's hope the right people see this podcast and maybe something will get done about it. Let's hope.
And in this week's episode, we have a new feature, the Heidelberg Business Buzz. In this first episode, Renee will be talking about restructuring and rebranding your business.
This feature is brought to you by Semicolon Collective.
Hi there, today we're joined by Renee Badenhorst on Heidelberg Business Buzz. Renee's from Semicolon Collective. Many of you might remember Semicolon Marketing and Events, but Renee has taken over the business from his wife and he's formed the Semicolon Collective, which is now much more strategic thinking and much bigger. Thanks, Renee, welcome.
Hi Neil, thank you so much. We are very excited about this next chapter. This launch means a lot to us because it represents growth, clarity and an understanding of where the world of business is going in today's day and age.
Okay Renee, let's start in the beginning. Why Semicolon Collective and how did it come about?
Semicolon Marketing and Events started about 5-6 years ago when our Scottish Terrier Wallace passed away. Risha formed the business back then, and it was more than something to keep her busy. It was a movement. It was a statement that she wanted to make, and also the semicolon has got its place. Semicolon means that your story is not over yet, and we all know about the death of a loved one, whether it be a person or a four-legged family member. Death has quite a bearing, and you feel that your world comes to an end. At the beginning, the focus was mainly social media management, content creation, and event coordination. But over time, we realized that businesses wasn't just struggling with content creation and social media. They were also struggling with strategy, positioning, communication, and audience behavior. And that's where we saw the need to reinvent ourselves from Semicolon Marketing Events to Semicolon Collective.
So this rebrand wasn't just aesthetic?
No, not at all. This wasn't just about changing colors and logos. This was about recognizing who we were, becoming as a business, and also aligning the brand with that evolution.
So tell us, Renee, why is reinvention in business so important?
Neil, businesses that refuse to evolve eventually become irrelevant. The world changes too quickly. Marketing changes, consumer behavior changes, technology changes. Businesses have to stay adaptable and willing to evolve. Reinvention keeps businesses relevant in a rapidly changing world. Consumer behavior, technology, marketing trends, and audience expectations evolve constantly. Businesses that refuse to adapt eventually become invisible. And reinvention often reveals blind spots. It forces businesses to ask important questions. Are we still relevant? Is our messaging clear? Are we attracting the right audience? Does our brand reflect our current value? Consumers are drawn to businesses that evolve with confidence. Growth signals momentum, leadership and vision. You'll see there's so many restaurant groups out there who constantly evolve, constantly reinvent, rebranding, revamps, refurbishment. Everything is necessary to stay relevant.
Do you think many businesses are maybe afraid of taking that jump and reinventing themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. Reinvention forces honesty. You have to ask difficult questions about relevance, positioning and growth. But staying stagnant is far more dangerous than evolving.
So Ronnie, why the move to Semicolon Collective as opposed to Semicolon Marketing and Events?
Neil, because the business became more than just marketing and events. We now operate across strategy, branding, business consulting, social media management, events, communication, and talent management. The word collective just represents that evolution, and that speaks to the different pillars that the company is now evolving into.
And tell us a bit about your logo, the semicolon itself.
The semicolon has always symbolized continuation. It's not the end, a continuation. So that perfectly reflects this new chapter.
So what makes Semicolon different from everyone else?
So we focus on strategy first. Beautiful content without strategy means very little. We focus on thinking quality, positioning, audience understanding, and intentional branding. We want Semicolon Collective to become known for strategy-driven creative work that creates impact, not clutter. We want to build brands that people remember.
Ronnie, what's your final message to businesses today, specifically to Heidelberg businesses?
Don't wait until your business is struggling to evolve. Reinvention is often the thing that unlocks the next level of growth. And don't be afraid to outgrow old versions of yourself or your business. Growth requires movement.
Thanks to Ronnie for providing some serious insight in how to grow your business. And like he says, business can't stand still. We've got to evolve with the times. Ronnie, thank you so much. This piece of sound business advice was brought to you by Semicolon Collective.
If you want to feature your business on the Heidelberg Business Buzz, get in touch with us. In this week's episode of Things We Don't Talk About, Brisha discusses the invention of drinking responsibly. Let's go and have a look.
Drink responsibly. Not on this bottle. All I can find is alcohol reduces driving ability. Don't drink and drive. This one. Drink responsibly. Alcohol reduces driving ability. Don't drink and drive. This one. Alcohol reduces driving ability. Don't drink and drive. Drink responsibly. 2 words, 1 slogan, one of the most successful pieces of marketing language ever created. But here's what most people don't know. The phrase, drink responsibly, was not created by a doctor, addiction specialist, or public health organization. It was introduced in the late 1980s by alcohol industry groups as part of self-regulation campaigns aimed at reducing government intervention and public criticism around alcohol harm. And the wording is powerful because it quietly shifts the responsibility away from the product and places it onto the person using it. If something goes wrong, you didn't drink responsibly. If you become dependent, you didn't drink responsibly. If alcohol damages your health, your relationships, judgment, or mental well-being, the product is rarely questioned. The user is. It's the only safety message in history written by the company being regulated. Tobacco doesn't tell you to smoke responsibly. Pharmaceutical companies don't tell you to medicate responsibly. Both industries are required by law to disclose harm. Alcohol created a phrase that turns every health consequence into a personal failing. Yours, not theirs. Now let's be clear. Personal responsibility absolutely matters. Choices matter. Behavior matters. But alcohol is also not an ordinary product. The World Health Organization classifies alcohol as a Group 1 carcinogen, the same category used for substances scientifically linked to cancer in humans. There's no completely risk-free amount of alcohol when it comes to cancer risk. There's only the amount you decide is acceptable to you, which is a different thing. Both can be true. But it's worth knowing who wrote the script that you have been reading from. And yet, alcohol is still marketed socially as celebration, relaxation, success, confidence, and escape. That's the part people need to start questioning. Because phrases like drink responsibly sounds like health advice, but they were also part of a branding strategy designed to protect the industry. It's an extraordinary piece of language engineering. Tobacco companies were eventually forced to place warning labels on products. Alcohol messaging has largely remained softer, socially accepted, and culturally protected. And maybe that's why this conversation makes people uncomfortable. Because once you see the language, you can't unsee it. This is not about shaming people who drink. This is about awareness. Also, critical thinking, about understanding who wrote the script society keeps on repeating. And maybe it's time we start asking bigger questions about the relationship the world has with alcohol.
And before we end this third episode of Heidelberg Hustle, we take a look at some of the bloopers over the past 3 weeks. Neil?
Ronald, there wasn't just one or two. There's been a good few. Look, it's a new experience for us as well. So there's bound to be a couple of bloopers. I hope you've got the bleep machine ready.
Enjoy this week's comedy section, everyone. And once again, thank you so much for watching Heidelberg Hustle, episode 3. We'll see you again next week, same place, same time. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good week.
Hello, everyone.
Hi there, and welcome to episode... This is Heidelberg Hustle. By Heidelbergers, for Heidelberg.
Dis korrek, Neil. En Heidelberg Rugby Club se eerste span is aangewys as die Valke Presidentsliga Balkap wenners. Nie Balkap wenners, no. Heerlikheid. Begin weer. Wag. Balkap.
Wenners.
Yes. Oh,
En ons begin hierdie week se sportsegment weer met rugby. Moenie vir my...
Ek moet vir jou kyk, ek kan nie daar staan die hele tyd nie.
Hierdie week se sportsegment weer met rugby. Ronald, nog 'n... Wat?
Ek weet nie.
Nuus. En Ronald, goeie oorwinning vir die Berge wie hy nou. En ons begin hierdie sportsegment weer met rugby. Nee.
Wat?
Nee, maar rugby. Ja, rugby.